First, obviously, I know we have such a huge alumni base and family in the Texas area, but our prayers are obviously with everybody down in Houston and all through Southeast Texas, and heading all the way into Louisiana with everything that's going on there. When all that stuff happens, sometimes puts our football into reality. But our prayers are with all those people that are suffering through through the storm right now. For us here, we're getting ready game week. It's exciting. It's a big transition for our guys. You go through spring practice, you go through training camp practice, you're just constantly going against each other, and now you got to make that transition and playing against an opponent, a different team. Going to be facing a different offense than we've been facing in a long time, and a different defense than we faced in a long time, different kicking game, different personnel. So our guys got to do a great job transitioning into that. Pretty excited, though. I'm pretty excited. I thought training camp went well. As I've said, I think the extra time that we had allotted for training camp really cut down on injuries and really was a big help for player safety issues for us. So tough challenge with the team we have coming in. First year head coach, new staff. So there's nothing to watch. You can watch a little bit of trying to piece together what they might do, and especially a team as talented as they are. When you look at a quarterback that's one of the top players in FCS, very, very productive player with a go-to wide receiver out there on the perimeter, a veteran offensive line. They execute their offense very well. You assume they're going to be running the same offense with the head coach having been there for the last several years running the offense. So. But they are a challenge, being a very option-oriented offense. But they throw the ball very well out of that option-oriented offense. Then you go over to the other side of the ball where they have the guys, a lot of people say the number one player in all of FCS, coming off the edge at defensive end. And they got linebackers that are some veteran players at linebackers, and a very experienced group that's used to winning, winning multiple 2 straight conference titles and looking for a third in a row, a playoff level team, a top 15 team, actually. So a huge challenge for us to come out and play, with some young guys going to have their first opportunities to go play in the stadium, playing against a quality team like Charleston Southern. We're going to have our hands full, especially with some of the new things that we expect them to throw at us. So, but we're ready to go kick it off. Injury report hasn't changed from last week. And talking to our training staff, that it's still, Landon Gidger, as I said, is going to be out for the year. Malik, we won't be ready for this game, but we'll know down the road. And Harry Parker, hopefully, is back out there today for us. So, but not sure what his availability will be this weekend. Excuse me, a little bit of a cold over the weekend somehow. So, questions.
You mentioned last week, Coach, that there's still some decisions to be made with red shirt and things. Is there anybody that you feel comfortable saying would play on Saturday, any of the true freshmen?
Yeah, I want to see how they handle this week of practice. I know Willie Gay's in the rotation for us. Tucker Day's competing to go play. So there's a couple guys who are going to have that opportunity to go play right away. But, again, this is a first time for them, so I got to see how they respond right now to kind of picking up a game plan, and are they ready to get on the field on game day?
Hey, Dan, I'm just curious how much you bring up the South Alabama game from last year when, trying to sort of, implement some lessons from that game in regards to the opener this year, or is that something that doesn't necessarily have to be brought up?
No, I don't think so. Different team, different everything. They were a good football team. I don't know that we played exceptionally well last week, but that's on last year. I'm sorry, that's on the coaches. Of us making sure that we transition and put everybody in the right position to make plays, and so I really thought much even discussing that.
You mentioned the coach is pretty similar to what they've done in the past, given he's an in-house hire, but there's going to be some change with a new head coach. What's your process for preparing for a guy who's in their first game head coaching?
Well, it's hard because it's in-house on offense, but the rest, everybody else on the staff's new. Very, very few people were retained on the staff. Nobody on the defensive side of the ball I think only one or two offensive coaches. So majority, it's a whole new coaching staff. So that's what always makes it a challenge when you're trying to see what they're going to do and how they're going to adjust to their personnel. With new guys coming in, new coaches, they're going to want to add their philosophy, and then they're also going to adjust it to the personnel they have. So we're going to have to do a good job making in-game adjustments.
Over the past week or so, you mentioned the possibility of Keaton redshirting, perhaps.
Yeah.
Something that you still have to think about. Is he gonna play on Saturday? Is it a case where you put him in, see what he has, and sort of use that as a basis for whether or not he plays or not? Down the road?
No, because you can't do that. Obviously, it'd have to be an injury. So if you play, the redshirt rule is if you play in one of the games, you have to have a season-ending injury to be able to redshirt once you've played. It's not just a freelance games. Oh, like at practice? Yeah, he's going to get a lot of reps at practice.
Would that be what you decided to put him in the game? Or I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what are you balancing, I guess, in regards
Well, it's finding whether or not we want to play him. A lot of the situation comes out. Right now, he's our second-string quarterback. Now, whether or not he plays is a different question. So, that would mean he'd play. If something happened to our starter, he would probably get if our starting quarterback got injured, he'd play a bunch. If our starting quarterback didn't get injured, then that would be where the decision comes of whether or not he steps on the field for a game.
They have a unique take on the option and what they do, particularly the wide splits with the offensive line and taking advantage of that inside. How is that a difficult task for a defensive line, specifically the interior that has to deal with that?
Well, I think one of the things, they are an option-based offense, and and you got to be very, very gap sound against the option and defend every phase of it. The dive quarterback and the pitch. But to me, what makes them a little different is they throw the ball. They're not your prototypical wishbone team. So you're not just committing everybody to stop the run and then try to defend the one or two play actions game. They can throw the ball pretty efficiently, so you got to be well balanced in what you do.
Coach, how is Nick Fitzgerald different this year compared to last year this time?
He's expecting going in. I think he knows what to expect, how to prepare for game week, and just what it's going to entail. Coming in, getting ready for the game, a routine, a preparation for the game, all of those different things. I think that's a big advantage he'd have over last year, kind of, being a first-time guy getting ready to go, of adjusting to what game planning's like, how to really study and prepare for the game and get yourself out there on the field ready to go play at a high level.
Coach, you mentioned Tucker Day. Is that saying that he is right now the place kicker going into the game?
No, I haven't decided any of that yet. That'll be decided at the end of the week. Like I said, it might not be decided this Saturday at warm-ups. So I want to see how everything goes this week with those guys and see how they handle the adjustment. They're a bunch of place kickers. None of them have played in a game at our level. So you got a bunch of different guys competing, and I want to see how they transition. It's a different week now. Now it's getting serious, and then it gets really serious on Saturday, and so see how they all handle it.
Coach, obviously, the first game for Todd Grantham here. You changed coordinators, and Grantham came in for Peter Sherman. What changes have you seen in the defense, and what has kind of pleased you on that side of the ball going into the season opener?
One of the things I think the level of how hard our guys play, that's which is one of the most important things to me, the effort and the strain in which they give, and then also just how we're fitting everything. The guys, the overall understanding of everybody within the scheme and what they're doing and what the expectations of them are. I've been really pleased with that.
Nick's helmet popped off quite a bit last year. What would be your plan if that happens on Saturday?
Tighten it up. Hopefully, that's one of the things you talk about, the important things that he learns, how to do that. You know what I mean? That can't happen. You're a second-year player. So that can't happen to you. That don't happen to the big-time guys.
But if it does, what will be your plan?
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Can you get something in place this week?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I can call timeout.
And a similar question that Steve asked about
Nick, what about Donald Gray? How has he changed in a
Well,
year going in this camp?
I think he's really changed, his attitude, stepped up as a leader. I think you see a guy that has always had a good work ethic and since he's been here, but really that, coming into his final season, the desperateness that he shows, how hard he works, the detail he puts in every single day to doing things the right way and really trying to set the standard high for the receivers. I think he's done a great job of that.
Any news on Rivers' eligibility?
Right now, I think that there's a we're appealing a waiver with the NCAA to wait and hear. So hopefully we should know something this week whether or not that appeal goes through for him to be able to play. Good deal. Thank you.
Training camp was a lot different. Like I've said before, it wasn't more me going in there, worrying about what other guys are doing, what another quarterback, what play he made, or how good he looks. It was more just me getting to go in there, focus on things I needed to focus on, work on things I needed to work on, and just build that relationship. So, camp was a lot different. But, coming off a whole off season as the starter, like the entire spring, summer, all that. Big difference, because you're the guy, you're the guy that's going to be leading the offense, so they know that. They're not expecting another guy. No one's making relationships with another guy. It's just y'all. So we had to really work on, just us, building that kind of chemistry as a team, and really kind of work on myself as a leader as well.
Nick, Brett Elliott comes back into the fold. What's that relationship been like, and what's he kind of been on you about to maybe improve upon?
Brett was the first guy to work me out when I got here. So I call him Brett. Coach Elliott was the first guy to even work me out here when I got on campus. He was the guy that when I came here for camps, he was the one kind of rooting me on, kind of pushing me. I think he really wanted me to come here. So kind of when Coach Johnson left, that's kind of who I came to Coach Mullen with was hey, let's see if we can get Coach Elliott back here. I know him. I worked well with him. I think he'd be a good coach to bring back, and so it worked out, and we got him back here. Great relationship. Just kind of was working on the small things I need to work on, tweaking little tiny throw motion mechanics here and there, but mainly just making sure I'm getting in the film and making sure I'm learning everything I need to learn.
Nick, obviously, it's been pretty documented by Coach Mullen and others that Arias is coming back as the guy, the number one starter running back. It seems like it's been a pretty intense battle for those number 2 reps. What have you seen from your perspective in camp?
The running back's been working hard. Every single one of them runs really well. They all have the ability to score every time they touch the ball. They've all really improved on mentally, on their protections, making sure that they're picking up their guy. So that second spot, I think we're just going to end up rotating a lot of guys in. If he says Arias is a starter, then Arias is a starter. But I wouldn't be surprised to see 3-4 guys working in rotation at running back.
What have you thought of your offensive line so far, especially with new guys like Stewart and Reese taking the spot at right tackle and such?
I think they're doing a good job. They're picking up stuff well. They're communicating well. With young guys, there's always going to be problems. It's just a learning curve, something they got to get used to, something they got to get reps at. But they've done a great job in camp. They protect me well. Coach Hevesey's kind of got them rolling a little bit, so I think we'll be fine.
How much does last year's season opener, how much is that discussed, you think, this week, and how do you guard against letting that happen again?
That was just kind of a wake-up call last season. You can't really look over anyone. You can't look past any games. So, we're taking this game as seriously as we take any other one, preparing for it as seriously as we would prepare for anything else or any other opponent. So, we're not going to let it happen again, hopefully.
You get to face Todd Grantham's defense every day in practice. Obviously, that'll slow down now that y'all get into the season. But from your perspective, what kind of gave you trouble with facing that group in camp?
They come out and every look is the same. Every look, you think it's going to be one thing, and all of a sudden they bring 4 guys off the edge on the other side. So they do a very, very good job of disguising things. Our secondary does a very good job of starting one way, and then all of a sudden the snap they roll somewhere else. So they just do a really good job. They're really sound, and they're really good at disguising what they're going to come with.
Nick, we hadn't heard a lot about receivers in fall camp. What's been your impression of that personnel group?
I mean, I think they've done well. You know, we have some young guys that stepped up, made some plays. Donald leads them. You know, obviously everything you've heard about him has been spectacular. He's an amazing leader. He's a hard worker. He's extremely talented. So obviously this season, look for him to do big things. But we've had some young guys step up, and you know, like Jesse Jackson, all them who have been here for a little while, you know, and they're finally healthy and ready to go. They've been putting up some big numbers there in camp too.